a comedic actor in a dramatic role. Something I love to see. Absolutely love to see. So, in honor of Spaceman, we are going to rank the top 10 performances by a comedic actor in dramatic performance. Let's go, let's go, let's go. First, let's do some honorable mentions, man. Because there are more than just 10 great performances done in drama by comedic actors, and I feel like some maybe other ones deserve a bit of love too. So I would like to shout out Jason Segel in The End of Tour. He was so good in that movie, playing David Foster Wallace at the end of his book tour, like he's being interviewed by this journalist who's been played by Jesse Eisenberg. He did that so well. He played it so endearing, but yet had this like sadness to his eyes, which I think Jason Segel like has consistently, even throughout his even with his comedic performances. He still has this just like tint of sadness, like just in his eyes. Like even Marshall in How I Met Your Mother just felt that, even when he was being goofy and stuff. So Jason Segel, End of Tour. Honorable mention again goes to Will Ferrell in Stranger Than Fiction, which I think he did a really good job in. Melissa McCarthy in Can You Ever Forgive Me? And another honorable mention to Christian Wiig in Welcome to Me. Okay, let's get into the top 10. Okay, in at number 10 is Bill Hader playing Milo in Skeleton Twins. Skeleton Twins is about Milo, who has just fresh off a suicide attempt and been invited by his sister to go and stay with her, and through him staying with her they kind of overcome some things and like rebuild the relationship that they probably once had. This movie is so good, really good, and the performances are so strong. Bill Hader shows you what he could do, and this was like the preemptive, before we got the Barry and before we got the It 2, so it was just a teaser of him letting us know, yo, I'm more than just Stefan from SNL. Like, I'm more than just the guy who can do a really good Arnold impression. And he proved that in Skeleton Twins, so shouts out to him. In number 9, we've got Bill Murray in Lost in Translation. That movie is just so good, isn't it? Like, that movie is just so good, and he's so great in it. Him and Scarlett have great chemistry. He does not feel out of place in that whatsoever. Not once did I feel like, oh, this is just Groundhog Day, but he's in Japan. Like, this is just the dude that's like the Ghostbusters dude, like trying to pull at my heartstrings, this lonely brother. Oh, I care. But he actually made you care. He made you care. He doesn't just make you laugh, ladies and gentlemen. Bill Murray does make you care as well. Sometimes he makes you cringe, and that's more Bill Murray than the actual characters he plays. But regardless of that, coming in at number 9 was Bill Murray in Lost in Translation. Okay, moving on. Number 8, Whoopi Goldberg as Celie Johnson in The Color Purple. Again, she's great in that movie. This is just going to be a recurring theme of me going, they're great in this, but she really is great in it. Yes, Elizabeth Banks. Spielberg does have a female-led film. Just because she wasn't a white female-led film doesn't mean it didn't happen. So check out Color Purple if you haven't. Elizabeth Banks, it's worth the watch. I promise, it's worth the watch. And the new musical's good too, so check that one out as well once you've checked the original. Thanks. Welcome to my TED Talk. Moving on swiftly. Okay. Number 7, we are going with the great Jonah Hill as Donnie in Wolf of Wall Street. Oh my god. We all know the story. He took a pay cut so he can work with his idol Marty Scorsese. Mate, I would pay to just be a fly on the wall while I watch this man direct. He is the epitome of film. He is the Don Donna when it comes to directing. He's my favorite director of all time. He's the greatest. So that's not surprising that Jonah Hill was able to pull off the best performance of his life on a set, on a Marty set. He tells this great story of how on the first day he was super nervous. They were trying to get that scene out, the scene where they meet in the diner. He was just trying to get that out and really wasn't just getting in his own head. And Marty just yelled cut, and he just told him, come here. And he just told him to sit next to him, and he just started reading the newspaper next to him. Jonah Hill was just looking at him reading the newspaper. He didn't say a word to him the whole time, and then he just looked at him after a few minutes. He was like, "You ready?" He was like, "Yeah," and then he just went and he was gone, and he did it. And he knew with that that's all he needed. He just needed to feel a little bit more at ease in that situation. He needed to get out of his head and stop like thinking about how big this thing might be, and just kind of just act and do what you were hired to do. And he did that well, and even the Academy thought so because he got a NAM. I forgot who won that year, but they must have been really good, because if they beat Jonah Hill in Wolf of Wall Street, he was really good in that movie. So in at number 7 is Wolf of Wall Street's Jonah Hill. Number 6. So number 6, this actor I could have picked many of his dramatic performances. Ever since he's left the comedy space, he's been doing dramatic performances, so he's got quite a few now at this point, and he keeps on surprising you. He keeps on showing different sides to himself. He keeps showing you that I'm not just the funny guy, I could also do the dramatic. And that's Mr. Steve Carell. And so, like I said, I could have picked many performances. I could have picked Steve Carell in The Way, Way Back. I could have picked Steve Carell in The Big Short. But ultimately, if I were to nail it just to one performance, it's Steve Carell in Foxcatcher as John DuPont. Oh my god. Like, this character literally will send chills down your spine. Like, he's unrecognizable under that makeup. He's got such an eerie quality to him. He's just like, you just feel uncomfortable being in the same room as him, even though you're not in the same room as him. Just his projection is being viewed into your eyeballs, and you're in a completely different plane of frequency and existence than he is. He's not anywhere. He's not the real person. But you still just feel uncomfortable watching it, and he just nailed it so well. So with that, number 6, we're going with Steve Carell as John DuPont in Foxcatcher. Okay, moving on. Ooh, we're getting to the top 5 now. This is when it gets serious. In at number 5, we're going to go with Jim Carrey in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Some people might think this is a bit too low for Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. He was so good in that movie, and that movie is flawless. That movie is great. Everyone in it is great. That's he leads that. He carries it on his shoulder. If he doesn't work, it doesn't work, kind of thing. Like, only he could play 6-year-old him in his body under a table, like reliving his childhood memories while trying to win back this girl. It's so he does it with this like somber sadness, but yet doesn't drain the life out of the audience while doing it. A bit like in Spaceman, he just kind of, you're with him and you kind of envy and like you empathize with him, not envy, sorry, but you empathize with him, and you just feel like I'm willing to spend 2 hours with you. That's what the character needs to do, is make you feel I'm willing to spend my time and my energy connecting and emoting with you. And he did that so well. And at the end of it, you're just hoping these kids get together again, hoping that they remember each other again, and they do, and that's great. So for number 5, we're going to go Jim Carrey in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. And the reason it's in at number 5, you'll understand, is because we have some great performances, ladies and gentlemen. Outside of that, we have some great performances. Because number 4, guys, is Eddie Murphy in Dreamgirls. Not only Eddie Murphy playing James Thunder Early. What a performance. Get down. So good. Oh, so good. The fact he didn't win an Oscar for this is criminal. And I tell you who I blame. I blame Norbit. Yes, you Norbit. I blame you. Because the marketing of that movie was happening right around the Oscar campaign time. And I don't mean to put too much into the whole getting an Oscar. It's just that Eddie Murphy deserves that validation. And not that he needs it. Like, he's probably sweet. But he was so good in that movie. And just because he was looking like a nerdy Afro dude throw stones in a glass house while I don't. Why don't I? But just because of the marketing for Norbit, it really did sort of affect how the academy sort of looked at him that year, and I feel like it really did affect his chances, which sucks because he should have been had one by that point. Like, he should have been had one for playing every single clump member in The Nutty Professor. That should have given him one right there. Because name me another actor that can do that successfully and it not come off just like cheesy and irritating. It's very hard, and he did that flawlessly. But the fact that he was able to bring it with James Thunder early, like, and this little Richard type character, and he did it with such charisma, and he was singing and he was dancing and he was so delightful. He was great in that movie, so great. So that's who we're going for. At number 4, it's Eddie Murphy in Dreamgirls. In at number 3, we were speaking about him just now. It's Mr. Sandler. It's the Sandman. Uncut Gems. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are going for the Uncut Gems. Adam Sandler playing Howard Ratner in at number 3. Did you like my Adam Sandler impression? No, okay, I'll stop doing that. I promise I'll stop doing that. I promise I'll stop doing that. But it's just, he's in my mind. What can I say? I can't get over him. I can't get over this performance, ladies and gentlemen. Uncut Gems is truly, truly, truly a revolutionary moment in that man's career. And the fact he didn't get, again, I feel like there's just this vendetta when it comes to the Oscars and these comedians. Just because we saw him not messing with the Zohan, not to be messed with. But because of that, we can't take him seriously as this dramatic actor. Like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And because of that, we can't take him seriously as a dramatic actor. It just doesn't. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't. So we've just got to stop putting cachet into that kind of thing. We've just got to stop putting cachet into the academy. I really do, because the fact that they didn't see that guy deserved a nom, at least a nom, just to let him know, like, we see you, is criminal. Because that movie is riding that's an intense movie. That movie is like start to finish, boom, high paced, high energy, and you can get lost in it if you do not have a central anchor through Howard. And Adam did that so well. He felt so lived in that world, and he felt like he just fit in it so perfectly. He feels like this like slimy gambling jeweler in New York. Like, he just feels like it, and he nailed it. He nailed it. Maybe it's not enough to get into the top 2. I must say. No, I kid. Who? Listen, I could. This number 2, number 3, number 1 could have all really interchanged. Well, actually, no. Maybe number 1 is the one that kind of like is set in stone, but a lot of these could have interchanged because they're all so great. They are all so great. In at number 2 is we have Robin Williams in Good Will Hunting, playing Sean Maguire. Do I need to say more? Won an Oscar for this. Nailed it. So good. Even the comedic improv that he would add to it, an already great script anyways, probably, but the fact that he feels the need to still add his little 2 cents, incredible. He hits you punch with punch of emotion, and doesn't do it in this like corny and like hits you in the face where it's like I need to overdo it. I can just do it subtly, in nuances, and in making you laugh, and in these little things that only I could do, only I could bring to it, and only Robin could do that. He's the great, he is the GOAT, and that is just such a great performance. It is such a great performance, and you could have cast any actor in that role, and they probably would have done a serviceable job. They probably would have done well, but I don't think they would have popped off in the movie. But casting Robin in that made that character pop. It made that character the one where you're after the film going, oh, I wish I could just have him in my life. I don't think that happens without Robin. I don't think that element is happening without Robin. I think that probably wasn't on the page, and that only comes with Robin. And again, he's no schmuck when it comes to dramatic performances. He's amazing in Dead Poet Society. It's one of my favorite movies ever. Insomnia, he's great in. The Photographs one with he plays the serial killer, great. Like he's done dramatic before, and he was great in everything else he did. But Good Will Hunting was just his pinnacle, his pinnacle. He's also great in this little flick, World's Greatest Dad. If you haven't seen that, it's about his son who commits suicide while masturbating, and he crafts this beautiful suicide note for his son because his son accidentally died while masturbating, and his dad was an English teacher, so he wrote him this elegant, beautiful suicide note portraying this such pain and anguish he was living with throughout his life that just had to culminate in the end, in this dramatic end. But in reality, he was just strangling himself too hard while having a jack off. It's a fun film. It's a fun film, so you should definitely check that one out if you haven't seen it. But we're not here talking about that one. We are here to get to number one. Number one, ladies and gentlemen, I think you probably know which one it is. It's Jamie Foxx in Ray. Like, talk about commitment. This man literally would go days with his eyes sealed so he can feel what Ray was going through. It's not even just the acting in that movie. It's the fact that he had to play jazz piano and do it at a level that made Ray Charles happy. That's probably more than any Oscar or any positive review could do for that. Like the fact that you were like, yeah, Ray Charles is happy with me portraying him and me playing his music. That's enough validation he probably needed anyways. But I'm gonna just give him more. What a talent! So good in that movie. Also could have given him to Collateral as well. Like he was great in that as well. Or Django. But he's in Ray. He just takes it up, and Ray is just the one way. It will always probably be synonymous with Jamie Foxx.